As a teenager, I learned from the Truman Show how to discover my own identity. In the film, Truman begins to uncover the lies around him as he attempts to find confidence in his true identity. It made me think about my own desires, rather than passively following desires that other people had for me. I'm Kenzo, and this is Deep Spirituality. Proverbs 19:22 in the NIV says, "What a person desires is unfailing love. Better to be poor than a liar." Truman lives and grows up in a world of lies around him to protect him from the outside world. From the outside perspective of the world, Truman is living the perfect life. He has an everyday routine that he is familiar with. He wakes up inside a beautiful home, has a wife who kind of supports him, a loyal best friend, and a good paying job. All these things given to him and set up by Christoph, the director and creator of the show, that Truman is unaware he has been the star of since he was a baby. But Truman desires for something more than just a picture-perfect life. At the start of the film, we see Truman looking at himself in the mirror, acting out a scene of life and death, climbing a mountain. This is juxtaposed to the other actors in the show being interviewed, insisting the show is indeed true and real. While everyone around him is aware of the camera and changes their behavior accordingly, Truman looks within and longs to do something greater with his life. But the thoughts, opinions, and desires of other people for him stops him from being able to do so. Matthew 23, verse 5-7 in the ERV, it says, "The only reason they do what they do is for other people to see them. These men love to have places of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love for people to show respect to them in the marketplaces and call them teacher." Everyone around Truman are performers trying to show their best sides to him and the audience. They are like the religious leaders that Jesus spoke about in the scripture, who wanted to be respected and loved by people. They do things for show and are dishonest about who they really are. Truman, on the other hand, wants to pursue the truth no matter how he looks to the people around him. In the middle of the film, we see Truman taking more and more risks to pursue his goals, as the walls of his reality start looking more unrealistic. However, his interactions with strangers always discourage him from leaving Sea Haven and continue to live a life that is dictated for him. Despite this, he is willing to give up the comfortability of his life to discover the truth about his life, even if it may hurt him. Ephesians 4:14-15 in the NLT, it says, "Then we will no longer be immature like children. We won't be tossed and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth. Instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ." When we want to know the truth, God helps us find it when we choose to constantly seek after it. He wants us to believe in Him and have confidence in the truth. Truman had to mature, and part of growing and maturing is being willing to see the truth in ourselves. Only then can we understand who we are. We all have insecurities, fears, and mistakes that we've made in the past. But our identity is not determined by our past, but what we choose to do in spite of it. At the end of the film, Truman matures and faces his fears, getting on the boat to leave the life he's always known. No matter how much Christoph throws at him, he refuses to budge because he never settles for things that sounded like the truth or feels like the truth. He wants what is real. And the only way for him to know that truth is to persevere no matter what obstacle he faces. Truth can be a hard thing to see, especially truth about ourselves. Figuring out the lies that we've told ourselves and things that we need to grow in can be difficult. But in order to find out who we really are, we must first open our eyes to the truth. Only then are we able to be free from being controlled by what other people think and discover our true identity. But in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.